Thank you very much. Distinguished participants and organizers of today's event, and dear educators of tomorrow. Let me at the outset congratulate Alliance University for completing 25 years of Alliance education in these unstable and uncertain times. Indeed, today's event is an actual demonstration of the future of global education. At this very moment, while you watch me on screen, from India and overseas, we see that technology has enabled us to reach across both time and geography. How do we shape the education of tomorrow? The question has three dimensions, and I will give you a quick overview of all three. 1. What is the content of tomorrow's education? 2. What is the pedagogy of tomorrow's education? 3. What are the challenges and consequences of tomorrow's education, and how do we meet them? First, what is the content of tomorrow's education? Even before COVID-19, it was becoming clear that technology was advancing at a speed and pace that our moribund syllabi were hard put to catch up with. Yuval Noah Harari, in his 21 Lessons for the 21st Century, predicts a robotic future where technology and digitalization has invaded every aspect of our lives. Just look around you. It is happening as we speak. COVID-19 has only accelerated the pace. Healthcare, higher education, even entertainment has digitized and moved online. Last year, I was hospitalized with COVID-19. While in hospital, I cleared my files on e-office, was interviewed by a publisher on Gmail, bickered with my husband over WhatsApp, and kept boredom at bay with Netflix. So, life went on as usual even when I was in isolation. That is the lure and allure of technology, that we can work and play with so little effort and almost no pain. That we will move towards more and more technology in education is perhaps a no-brainer. It is a trend to note, but for me, not so much a matter of concern. What worries me though is our preparedness to cope with this change. We are users ignorant of the technology that we use. I am from Bangalore, and we Bangaloreans boast of being a technology capital. But our expertise is mostly in information technology with some modest advances in biotech. What about AI, robotics, and data analytics in public goods and systems? Precious little. At the first instance, updating our higher education is a priority, but this is not enough. If usage is pervasive, then understanding should be widespread as well. If a child of 8 or 10 can use an iPad, then she can jolly well know the basics of how it works. At the second level, we need, over and above knowledge, the discernment to use technology optimally and humanely. How can data help us solve the socio-economic conundrums that we find ourselves in? How do we distinguish fact from fake amidst information overload? Our siloistic education structure is hardly adequate to grapple with these fundamental issues. An engineer, while he may specialize in computer science, still needs enough grounding in sociology and public policy and even arts, just think of Apple and design, for his skills to make a meaningful contribution to society. A sociologist may understand the land-related conflicts in a community, but needs to know enough about emerging technologies such as GPS, 3D laser scanning, and digital photography to evolve techno-sociological solutions to resolve those conflicts. To cut a long story short, while the content of learning has to move towards understanding of technology and digitization, it should at the same time be broad-based with a generalist and holistic orientation. Let me now address the second question. What is the pedagogy of tomorrow's education? The obvious answer, we are going digital, going online. With an influx of new learning models available, educators are tapping into the digital revolution and adopting new technologies to help students reach their full potential. An array of tools is available to assist, support, and perhaps usurp the stand-up teacher's hitherto unchallenged status. Artificial intelligence, chatbots, video learning, extended reality, to name just a few. But let us be mischievous and take a peek into the not so obvious. Technology has begun to change the roles of the traditional educational actors, the teachers and the learners. In the traditional classroom, the teacher is the sage on the stage, the sole repository of knowledge. However, because of the access to information and educational opportunity that technology has enabled, in many classrooms today, we see the teacher's role shifting to become the guide on the side as students take more and more responsibility for their own learning. The focus is on inquiry rather than on knowledge. The teacher becomes a curator, leading the learner towards the right sources while rejecting the less credible ones. Those of you that teach know that this is no small shift. So, pedagogic underpinnings will move away from imparting and communication to enabling, guiding, facilitating, and doing. Schools and universities will need to redesign learning spaces to enable this new model of education, foster more interaction and small group work, and use technology as an enabler. My third and final question. What are the challenges and consequences of tomorrow's education and how do we meet them? Imagine a far-flung rural village in India or sub-Saharan Africa without electricity or infrastructure or a government school, at home to children studying on a smartphone provided by the government or an NGO, under the guidance of astute mentors. This is the true power and potential of online learning platforms, transmitting knowledge to the farthest and marginalized corners of our country. The most profound impact of technology is to democratize learning. Technology has greatly expanded access to education. Rather than travel to centers of learning, information is available at one's fingertips through the internet, and opportunities for formal learning are available online worldwide through the Khan Academy, MOOCs, podcasts, and so on. Opportunities for communication and collaboration have been expanded by technology. Traditionally, classrooms have been relatively isolated, and collaboration has been limited to other students in the same classroom or building. Today, technology enables forms of communication and collaboration undreamt of in the past. The walls of the classroom are no longer a barrier as technology enables new ways of learning, communicating, and working collaboratively. New technologies are thus powerful tools to help schools meet the needs of ever more diverse student populations. The democratization of education raises important issues of equity. Are schools providing students with equal access to technology? There is a digital divide that exists between the information rich and the information poor. Gender equity issues arise when girls are treated differently than boys in the use and encouragement to use technology. A student in a rural school that lacks fast internet connectivity does not have the same access to information as a student near a major city. The digital divide also extends beyond the school. More economically advantaged children usually have access to information sources through private service providers and home computers. Democratization of technology is therefore an important issue now, comprising internet connectivity, telecom infrastructure, affordability of online systems, and availability of electronic infrastructure. Let me look closer home. For Indians and India watchers, keep in mind that this shake-up in education is taking place alongside the launch of the new education policy. So, there is the possibility that policy and practice can adapt to or facilitate the organic changes that are taking place in the education arena. Closing the gap between technology potential and technology realization is largely a function of policy leadership, private initiative, and public acceptance. This is where the NEP can play a role. The last year saw a flurry of activities by the Ministry of Human Resource Development and various regulators, including CBSE and NCERT, to find online alternatives to ensure the continuation of education. But ad hoc activities and piecemeal initiatives cannot substitute for intelligent, comprehensive, and holistic design. The shift towards tomorrow's education, of course, requires a change in mindset, in the thought process of policymakers, authorities, students, and educationists, and an open mind which accepts that both classroom and online provide value. But we need to go further. Modernity has given us many things. It has activated our physical and vital energy, sharpened the power of the intellect, and given us comforts. The coronavirus has shattered this confidence. It has brought us to the domain of ambiguity and perplexity. For all our specialized knowledge, we are almost incapable of engaging with the inherent uncertainty of existence. No, we are not the masters of the world. Not everything can be predicted or dominated. This realization should transform us from arrogant conquerors to questing seekers. It is in this context that we have to rethink education. My best wishes towards this rethink and reboot in the next 25 years of Alliance Education. Thank you all very much. Jai Hind. Good luck.